I know we live in very hectic times right now, in a very hectic world. And to embrace slowness, it feels uncomfortable and sometimes even unnatural. I know we have a hard time embracing slowness. In fact, just thinking about slowing down gives people anxiety. And as a time management and productivity mentor, I know the importance of going fast and furious at some projects and some seasons in life. But let me tell you something, for sustainable growth, nothing beats slow and constant progress. Because we have to remind ourselves that slow progress is still progress. And yes, in this video, I want to talk about slowness, about embracing slowness in your life to create progress. Because there's one thing that slowness will create, which is consistency in your life. And let me tell you something, when you create consistency in one thing, that pattern will replicate to other areas of your life. And it's hard because our tendency is to try to rush things, right? But we have to think about making sure that we take things slowly in order to advance in life in some areas. You don't have to rush every single project. And it's interesting because when we talk about neuroscience, the impact and the effects of slow progress in the brain are incredible. Because through neuroplasticity, our brain rewires over time. So the longer that you work in a certain project or in a certain progress, the longer this rewiring is going to happen, meaning that your brain is going to be adjusted to that long time horizon. And it's interesting because even only 10 minutes a day, if you practice and if you create progress in certain areas or certain projects, only 10 minutes a day, this will already rewire your brain and create new neural pathways. Because the brain doesn't distinguish between slow progress and fast progress. It only responds to consistency and repetition. It is proven that slow and spaced learning, it's way better for retention than cramming content. You know, if you're studying, for example, for an exam, it is proven that by studying over a long period of time consistently, for content retention is better than cramming, than studying like 2 days before the exam for 20 straight hours because you think that that content is going to be more fresh in your mind. Because the information consolidation works better through long-term versus short-term, and that's important. And you can use the same rule for long-lasting productivity. One of the issues caused by this craziness that we live in right now is called time horizon distortion. Basically, we overestimate what we can do in one day, and we underestimate what we can do in an entire year. I'm sure this has happened to you before when you estimated time for a project or for a certain task during the day and you totally underestimated, right? Because life happens. And how about long-term projects? When you thought that, well, that project is going to take long, and then you give a big timeline, and then you're actually able to reduce it and complete it in a shorter time. So we're not very, good, naturally good in estimation. But when we work long-term projects, this actually helps our internal clock to better estimate time for projects. One of the reasons why embracing slowness is hard as well is because we tend to focus too much in the outcomes, right? In the result versus the process. And that's because we are wired for instant gratification versus delayed gratification. It's very easy to see and measure the satisfaction that you have when you have an instant gratification or something that you're doing that you can see the results fast. But when we have a project that takes longer, it's hard to see the results unless you're measuring throughout the project, obviously, but it's harder to see the results and feel happy because we feel that sometimes we're going too idle, that we are not making enough progress when the project is in a longer timeline. But think about Isaac Newton, for example, brilliant mathematician, physicist, and his main work, which is called Principia, it totally transformed the world. In this work, he introduced Newton's law of motion and also the universal laws of gravitation. It totally transformed the world. But not a lot of people know this, that it took him about 20 years to complete his work. Talk about a long-term project. Talk about delayed gratification. I'm pretty sure that, in the first 2, 3, 4 years, Isaac Newton, obviously he didn't know the impact that he would create with this project. And he probably felt that, well, this is going slow, or I'm not making enough progress on this. I don't know, I'm just thinking. But, when you decide to have a project, a long-term project, and you're committed to create slow and steady progress, you have to think that you are producing your best work. Because, for example, Isaac Newton's, his work, Principia, it became timeless. Doesn't matter right now for people how long it took him to finish, but the project, the result of that work itself became timeless. So my suggestion and encouragement to you is pick a project or a task and decide that it's going to be a long-term project. I'm talking about at least 1 year at least. And make constant and slow progress throughout this, the timeline that you decided. I'll tell you, this is going to be a great way for you to train your brain for consistency and delayed gratification. You won't regret it. I want you to share with me in the comments, what kind of projects are you thinking about? Are you writing a book? Are you writing or creating a new company, a new project? I don't know, something interesting. Write down in the comments, and once you're there, also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Every week I am creating new videos with different content, always to help you grow, always to give you a lot of amazing tips about time management, productivity, neuroscience of habits, and much, much more. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you create an amazing long-term project that you can work on your consistency and you can work also on your delayed gratification. I'll see you on our next video. God bless you.